For a number of years now, I've been seeing these big striper photos and reading magazine articles about a particular striper fishery in the middle part of the country. I'm going to get to go there on this week's episode. We'll explore it together and see if those fish stories are true. Come on along. It's going to be a fun half hour. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Tennessee. We are coming to you from one of America's premier striped bass fisheries. Right behind me is the famous Watts Bar Dam. It separates Watts Bar Lake on the other side of that dam from the Tennessee River and Lake Chickamauga below the dam. Chickamauga, of course, is one of the most famous bass fisheries anywhere in the country. Today we're going to go out and explore some of the stripers and some of the other fish that reside in this current. Now they're releasing water out of the dam right now, and that's a good thing, and I'm going to explain why. There are crappie, walleye, white bass, stripers, catfish, and several other species of fish swimming around out there, and the current affects all of them. It's going to be a real interesting next half hour. While we're out in the Nitro Z20 with the Mercury Pro XS 4-stroke behind it up there exploring that water, we're going to take you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from your insider reporters, both freshwater and saltwater, from lakes, rivers, and bays right where you live. So right now we're going to hop in the Nitro, run up to that dam, see what kind of current is generating right now, see what we can catch. We get things started back at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
Hey everyone, it appears both days of the weekend will offer good fishing conditions. These lunar tables are indicating morning activity kicking off around 7:28 Saturday and 8:16 Sunday. Evening action begins at 7:53 on Saturday and 8:41 on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 6:40 and set at 8:32, and evenings will feature a moon that is 18% visible. Stay with us for freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the region. Plus, I'll return with 2015 Bass Master Classic champion Casey Ashley for this week's Ask the Pro question. We'll be back in a minute.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
How's that for a first one? My very first Tennessee River striped bass. Hey everybody, we've made it out, and as you can see right here, there it is. That is the Watts Bar Dam on the Tennessee River, and I have already hooked myself up with a fish. Finally just pulling an umbrella rig around out here. So there's where the water comes out of Watts Bar Lake in Tennessee, and the turbines are over on the left side of that dam, and that's where they generate water, and they release it down the Tennessee River, and it goes on down to Nickajack and Chickamauga. All of these lakes have stripers, and they grow big here. My whole life I've seen pictures of all these big stripers that they catch here on the Tennessee River, and just really never had a chance to get over here and do this until now. There's the fish. It's not a giant or anything, just a good striper. There he is right there. I did have my net out, thankfully. Get in. Come in that net. It's almost too big for my net. Oh, there we go. How's this for a first Tennessee River striper? My first one. And he's a good one. He's not one of their absolute giants that grow in this pond, but that's a good striper anyway. How's that for a first one? My very first Tennessee River striped bass. And that dude is heavy. We're gonna let him go back today, of course. We'll talk about these fish and their journey. Easy there, buddy. Under the boat. She's gonna go, away she swims. These fish just live in all these lakes and this river all up and down here. Depending on the time of the year, you catch them different ways. In the spring, they run right up against that dam. And they think they're gonna spawn, and they actually do spawn in this river. It's one of the few rivers in America where stripers, freshwater stripers, actually do spawn, because they've got such a long run of river to spawn in. They've got to have like 30 miles or something of moving current in order for those eggs to get fertilized and to hatch. And they actually have that here in the Tennessee River. So it's a reproducing striper fishery here. And that's a really cool thing, because the wildlife departments have to stock them most everywhere else in the country, but here they reproduce.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Burm here for this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. Hey, we're going to start this week's report down in the Lower Laguna Madre. Hey, Captain Wayne Davis says the Lower Laguna has recently seen an influx of fresh water, which caused the fish to move to the east side. Captain Wayne has been focusing on both the north and south of port, targeting grass lines and potholes in shallow water. Hey, he's still throwing the K-Wiggler Willowtails and Balltail Shad. Now, Captain Wayne says early in the morning, hey, chunk those top waters until the sun gets up and switch over to your K-Wiggler. Hey, now we're going to move to Baffin with Captain Chris Elliott. Hey, he says one word describes Baffin Bay fishing right now: hot. Redfish in knee-deep water or shallower. Paddletails or willowtails rigged weedless are working best. Hey, Captain Chris Elliott also says a speckled trout bite has been fast and furious early in the morning. He says a trout has been in waist-deep water, and K-Wiggler soft plastics is the hot bait in Baffin. Now, hey, remember, if you want to come fishing with me, inshore or offshore, and remember, amberjack season opens August 1st. Also, we target mahi, wahoo, cobia, tuna, and more in August. Give me a call or check out our websites. Hey, I'm Captain Greg Burm. I'll see you next time.
Hey, the water temperatures are really heating up here in Oklahoma, and so is the white bass fishing. Very typical summertime white bass fishing taking place across the state at this time. Now, our best white bass lakes like Grand, Hudson, Fort Gibson, Eufaula, good schooling activity in the early morning hours up until about mid-morning. And then again, late evening up until about sundown. During the day, go to the main river channels, look for the long points that come out, or go to the humps, or go to the bridge pillars. Under the bridges offer shade and current, and really is a good gathering point for a lot of different species at this time. You can catch them there. If you intend to keep and eat some white bass, put them on ice immediately. Water temperatures are hot, especially in your live wells. Put them on ice, they're going to taste delicious later. A lake on the radar to check out is Lake McMurtry, a small lake just northwest of Stillwater, serving up some really nice largemouth right now, 3 and 4 pounders, as well as good crappie and white bass fishing, and also serving up some great sawguy fishing. Catch those sawguys, put a live night crawler or earthworm on a rig, drag it along the bottom. A lot of fun, nice little fish. Now, if I had one lure to fish right now, it would be this new Bobby Garland Slab Hunter minnow, because it looks just like the bait fish that pretty much everything is keying in on. I would go with this monkey milk color, chartreuse or pink jig head, and I would cast it and I would jig it. I would drop it to the bottom and bounce it there. It'll catch a lot of different species, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's your Watts Bar special, another good one. Man, they are big around here. I'll tell you, these fish grow huge. There's one. Hey, there's one right here in the current, right in the heaviest part of the current. Hey, welcome back everybody. We're on Watts Bar Dam today, and we're trying to do some striper fishing. And I've had to experiment around. A lot of the guys up here with live bait have been doing really well, but I've had a hard time catching them on artificials today because of the bright sun, real clear water. But I finally picked up a jigging spoon and threw it out there in the heaviest part of the current. And I've gotten one to hit it. There we go, that's a striper. Just a decent one. You know, current plays a huge role in everything that happens around here. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Wow, he's not done yet. They are strong fish here. There we go, got him in the net. All right, there's just a good quality fish for you right there. I've got a treble hook in him. There we go, there's a fat one for you. All right, there's your Watts Bar special, another good one. Man, they are big around here. I'll tell you, these fish grow huge. So we'll put him back. Away he goes. Thank you, pal. You know, I mentioned the current. The current's important around here for two main reasons. I mentioned the spawning part of it. These fish depend on this current to roll those eggs when they spawn and roll downstream, and for them to be fertilized by the males. But the other thing, they depend on the current for feeding. This current positions the bait fish. Now, they primarily feed on threadfin and gizzard shad and some herring here in the Tennessee River. But that current, when they release that water out of those dams, it pulls all the bait and concentrates them right in the little eddies and the swirls just below where that water's coming out of the dam. And then that pulls all the game fish right in behind them, and all these stripers that are down in the river get sucked right up into the headwaters here where the water's coming out. Different times of the year, but as long as there's current in this river, you find those little seams in the current, the little eddies, the little pockets where those fish can position themselves and ambush that bait. And when those schools of threadfin shad come up, those fish just gorge on them. They do it early and late primarily. We're kind of in the middle of the day, so it's kind of tough right now, but we're still managing to catch a few.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by Tejas Boots. Now it's summer and it's hot, so they want to remind you that they do make flip-flops and sandals. They use the same great materials and they're made with the same great craftsmanship as their boots. Now this week we're going to start at Cedar Creek, where the summer night bass bite is on fire. You'll want to fish one of the many docks that Cedar Creek has, and you'll use your moving baits for the most part. Start with your topwaters around the back of the docks, things like your poppars or your buzz baits in a black color, and then transition to a big Colorado bladed spinnerbait, half-ounce spinnerbait, big Colorado blade, black blue colors. And finally, you can Texas rig a 10-inch power worm in blue fleck or red shad around those very same docks. Get in a creek, work a bunch of docks, you'll catch a lot of bass. And over at Lake Fork, which is known for big bass, the bluegill bite is on. They're up shallow. We've got a little bit of summer left. Let's get the kids out there. All you need are some earthworms and some crickets, some light spinning gear. Throw it up in the shallows around some kind of scattered vegetation. You'll catch plenty of those bluegill on Lake Fork. That's been this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Tejas Boots. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
There's one. That's a little white bass. Well, catching some of everything in the river. Crappie, stripers, big white bass. I want to show you that one, but I also want to show you some bigger ones. I actually went out yesterday just kind of messing around Lenoir City, and I went below the Fort Loudon Dam. And there weren't any stripers up there, but there were a bunch of white bass, and they were some great big ones. So I'll show you a couple of shots of those. Different dam. Again, there's a whole complex of dams around here, and you hop around from one to the next, depending on the release schedules, how much current's coming down the river, the time of year, all those factors. But you can find some fish behind a lot of these dams if you'll play your cards right, do a little research and a little homework, and consult with the guides or book a guide. We'll give you all that information at the end of the show. All right, back to fishing.
Buck Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy-to-use XI3. Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist. Strike King, tie one on. Nitro Performance Fishing Boats, because champions aren't born, they're made.
Look at this one here. There's your great big old walleye. You catch some of everything in here. There's another one. There's another one. What is it? This feels a little different right here. Let's see what I got. Oh, walleye, big walleye. Wow. There's a bonus. Yes. Wow. There's a big old walleye. I heard they were in here, and I'd actually caught a couple of smaller ones. Look at this one here. There's your great big old walleye. You catch some of everything in here. What a deal. What a good eating fish right there. There's your bonus. Well, we're still below the Watts Bar Dam, everybody, and we're catching now some of everything that swims in here, including a nice big walleye. Man, that would eat good, wouldn't it? Look at that. Look at that, dude. Look at the chompers on that baby. Big old walleye. Well, we're not keeping them, but if we were, that would be the bonus right there. Well, I tell you, we've had a great day so far, but I need to explain something to you. We've caught some of everything. We caught a huge crappie mixed in with this current, eating this bait fish. And I caught this crappie on a little swim bait, a little Jean LaRue rally grub. And I actually weighed it on the scale. It weighed 2 pounds and 7 ounces. 2.7, huge crappie. No matter anywhere in the country you go, that's a big one. And then I caught a largemouth, about a nice fat largemouth up here in this current. So I'll tell you, when the bait fish is pulled up in here in this current, everything gets in here. Walleye, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, crappie, white bass, stripers. They all gang up in here and they're all just gorging themselves. So if you come here, you need to be ready because you could catch some of a little bit of everything. That one hit that jigging spoon again. So anything that looks like a little shad is the perfect bait to try to catch them in here. I want to mention something in just a minute about a app you can get on your phone, and you can get all the release schedule and the predicted releases.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Outdoor Report, brought to you by Cajun Paradise Charters right here on Calcasieu Lake. I tell you what, we're going to start off this week up at Toledo Bend Reservoir. Lots of white perch getting caught, 25, 30 feet of water over the brush piles, live shiners, Rockport Rattler jig heads, and little tubes seem to be working best. Bass action early in the morning, late in the evening, also at night. I tell you what, you can see right here, we got a pretty good pile of fish. You guys had a good time?
Awesome.
Fantastic. Tell you what, we just got past Hurricane Barry, came through a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. As you can see right here, things are starting to get back to normal. The water's clearing up, catching lots of good trout, redfish. Tell you what, we had a good variety right here on Calcasieu Lake. So get out on the water and watch the heat. For Old Cajun Field, Captain Kevin Broussard saying happy fishing. May God bless. We're going to see you next week.
Earlier in the show, I promised to give you some information in case you'd like to book your own fishing trip. Here to one of America's greatest striper fisheries on the Tennessee River. And you're looking at the contact information for Lamar Ball. You're also looking at him and a couple of his buddies a little earlier today, catching one really nice striper. Lamar says this striper would go somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds, and I promise you that is just an average daily fish for this place. In an average day, they catch about 25 stripers. They catch them casting swim baits and trolling. They're all artificial, and it's all catch and release. In fact, I noticed that most of the guides and most of the locals here do release their stripers, and that is a great thing for this fishery here below the Watts Bar Dam. So if you're coming, don't expect to be filleting up a bunch of stripers. It's a trophy striper fishery, and you'll get some of the best fish pictures you can possibly imagine. I also mentioned earlier that there is an app you can download on your phone. It's the Tennessee Valley Authority Lakes app, and it gives you the lake levels for all of their lakes. But more importantly, if you want to fish any of these rivers, it gives you the river flow information in cubic feet per second. It gives you the hourly flow as to what's been happening in history, and it also gives you the predicted flow for the next couple of days. So you can kind of plan your trip around that. If you want somewhere around 12 to 30,000 cubic feet per second, that's kind of perfect for the type of striper fishing you want to do and to be able to manage a boat well in this current. So book your guide trip, come on down here and have a great time catching some of these stripers and the other walleye, bass, crappie, and catfish like we caught today.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter, and watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Balls Out, made in the USA, heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment, where viewers get expert insights from professional insiders. This week's question comes from Samantha, who asks, what is your favorite fish to catch other than bass, and why? For the answer, we checked with MLF angler Casey Ashley.
Crappie. I love to catch crappie. They're a lot like bass, but the reward is much greater, because once you find them, you don't catch 1 or 2, you catch 1 or 200. That's my favorite.
Thank you, Casey. If you have something that you want to ask one of the pros, simply visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now let's take a look at this week's Big Catch winner.
Back at the boat ramp and back on the trailer after a great day's fishing here at Watts Bar, and it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. He's Will Mitchell of Amarillo, Texas, with a 10-pound largemouth bass he caught at O.H. Ivy Reservoir in Texas. If you'd like to have you and your big fish shown on television, just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/foxsportsoutdoors, and watch for our Tuesday post. You can add your comment with all the information we request, and you could be our next winner. Next up, here's some of the gear that you'll need if you want to fish for some of these big stripers like we were fishing for here at Watts Bar. I am so impressed with the Lew's Super Duty 300 bait cast reel. It's low profile, fits in the palm of your hand, but it's got a deep spool to hold lots of line, beefed up gears, a great drag system in case these fish make hard runs, and a great big handle with the Win dry tack knobs for extra gripping power. And I had it paired with the Lew's TP1 black speed stick rod. This is the first time I've gotten to fish with this rod. It did a great job on these hard pulling fish. This is a 7-foot 2-inch medium heavy rod, perfect for pulling in these big stripers. What makes you valuable? What makes you worthwhile? A lot of men get their identity from their jobs. A lot of women get their identity from their man. Both of those situations are very dangerous. A man could lose his job. A woman could lose her man. Then what do you do? Each of us gets to choose what we believe. I believe that you are worth something because of the God who created you. He says you are valuable and you are worthwhile. He designed you, and He will go to great lengths to find you and make something good out of you. Then the only choice remaining is whether or not we will allow that. Thanks so much for joining us this week from Watts Bar Dam and the beautiful Tennessee River, home of some of the best striper fishing in America. You're looking once again at Lamar Ball's contact information, his Facebook page, his phone number, in case you'd like to book a guide trip here and come catch some of your very own. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.